900 people have been killed and 3,000 injured in eastern Afghanistan after a devastating earthquake.
Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, says he will declare a republic in arms if U.S. forces deployed to the Caribbean attack his country.
Ukraine detained suspects in the fatal shooting of former Speaker of Parliament Andrei Parubi, claiming possible Russian involvement.
More than 900 people have been killed and 3,000 injured in eastern Afghanistan after a devastating quake. The 6.0 magnitude earthquake rocked the towns in the province of Kunar near the city of Jalalabad and neighbouring Nangarhar. With much of the region affected lying in remote, inhospitable terrain, officials have warned the death toll may rise significantly as emergency teams struggle to gain access. The Afghan Red Crescent put the confirmed death toll at 825 as of Monday afternoon and reported widespread damage to property and infrastructure. A government spokesperson quoted by local media put the figures at 812 dead and some 2,500 injured. It's not the first time a deadly earthquake has struck Afghanistan. In 2023, a 6.3 magnitude quake killed thousands as it hit the region.
Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, says he'll declare a constitutional republic in arms if U.S. forces deployed in the Caribbean attack his country. The comments were in reaction to the Trump administration boosting maritime defenses and expanding its naval presence in waters near Latin America in a bid to combat threats from drug cartels in the region. In recent days, U.S. President Donald Trump ordered the deployment of several naval battleships to patrol the waters off Venezuela. A U.S. defense official says 3 amphibious ships encompassing a force of more than 4,000 sailors and Marines would add to the existing deployment already there. Maduro accuses the Trump administration of pursuing a regime change in Caracas, calling the escalation immoral, absolutely criminal, and a bloody threat. The Venezuelan leader has responded timely to what he described as the greatest threat to face his continent in 100 years. Maduro has stationed some 15,000 troops along the coasts and border with neighboring Colombia. He has also urged Venezuelans to enlist in a civilian militia. Trump's deployment comes as the White House continues its declared fight against the flow of illicit drugs coming into the U.S., including fentanyl, largely via their southern borders. Washington has previously slammed Venezuela for its lack of a hardline stance on drug cartels. They've also recently offered a bounty of $50 million for the capture of President Maduro, who they accuse of acting in concert with criminals and of being a narco-trafficker himself.
Ukrainian authorities on Monday announced that a suspect in the fatal shooting of prominent politician and former Speaker of Parliament Andrei Parubi has been detained, claiming a possible Russian involvement. According to Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, the 52-year-old suspect has given an initial testimony and an investigation is currently underway, while the head of Ukraine's security service in the Lviv region said, quote, "There is operational information indicating the possible involvement of the Russian Federation Special Services in organizing the murder." End of quote. Parubi, a Ukrainian politician who previously served as the parliament speaker, was shot dead in Lviv on Saturday. During a press briefing in Lviv, police officials said that Parubi was shot 8 times with a short-barreled firearm. 7 shell casings were later found at the crime scene. Law enforcement authorities said they are investigating whether Parubi received threats before his death.
Russia has been accused of jamming the GPS of the airplane carrying European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen during her official visit to Bulgaria on Sunday. The plane was forced to land at Plovdiv Airport using paper maps instead of the conventional electronic system. Von der Leyen's visit to Bulgaria was part of her tour of member states that border Russia and Belarus, aimed at expressing solidarity and promoting the European Union's plan to ramp up defense spending.
Of course, this will only reinforce even further our unshakable commitment to ramp up defense capabilities and support for Ukraine. This incident actually underlines the urgency of the mission that the President is carrying out in the frontline member states these days. There she has seen firsthand the everyday challenges of threats coming from Russia and its proxies. And of course, the EU will continue to invest into defense spending and in Europe's readiness even more after this incident.
Russia has been repeatedly accused of jamming and spoofing GPS systems across Eastern Europe. The interference is considered a form of hybrid warfare launched by the Kremlin in retaliation for European support for Ukraine.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has blamed the West for his country's war on Ukraine, and Europe in particular for what he said were provocations forcing Moscow to respond. The Russian leader made the remarks as he participated in a major summit in China, taking place in the northern port city of Tianjin. Putin says the war was not triggered by Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, but rather as a result of a coup in Ukraine, provoked and supported by the West. He also labeled the West's constant attempts to enlist Ukraine into NATO as the second biggest reason for the ongoing war, well into its fourth year. Earlier, Chinese President Xi Jinping criticized the bullying behavior of other countries and urged members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization to resist what he called the Cold War mentality. He also praised the growth of the group both in size and influence, but stressed the need for even more cooperation to address global crises and promote further development. The Shanghai Coordination Organization was established 24 years ago with an aim of challenging Western-led multilateral blocs. The group, which has 10 permanent members, 2 observers, and 14 dialogue partners spanning Asia, Europe, and Africa, accounts for nearly half the world's population and around a quarter of the global economy.
The FCAS program faces fresh uncertainty following a dispute between its manufacturers. Launched in 2017 by France, Germany, and Spain, this project aims to strengthen European defense by developing a sixth-generation fighter aircraft supported by interconnected drones within a combat cloud. The German Defense Ministry accused French industry of blocking the project after Dassault's CEO called for single management of the fighter jet program. However, it is unlikely that Dassault will get full control of the program.
Il y a d'autres parties, d'autres piliers de ce projet du SCAF, par exemple un cloud de combat, donc une infrastructure digitale pour échanger des informations, pour se connecter à d'autres appareils et notamment à des appareils non pilotés, des drones qui devraient aussi être développés, et là notamment par Airbus et le côté allemand.
Following the management dispute, some German voices are threatening to leave the project. Germany could turn to a rival project for a sixth-generation fighter jet developed by Italy, the UK, and Japan. Other transatlantic-minded German voices are arguing in favor of buying more American F-35s, to the detriment of Europe's strategic autonomy.
Ça aura un coût pour la relation franco-allemande bilatérale, mais aussi pour la souveraineté européenne de manière générale, puisque le SCAF et son projet jumeau, le MGCS, donc le char du futur, étaient en quelque sorte les deux projets principaux de cette idée, de cette vision d'une Europe plus souveraine.
The FCAS was discussed on Friday at the Franco-German Council of Ministers in Toulon. The German Chancellor and the French President reaffirmed their commitment to the project, but hinted at the possibility of adjustments.
Liverpool Football Club broke the English transfer record with their latest signing of Newcastle striker Alexander Isak for €145 million. It's the club's fifth major signing in a busy transfer window, which saw them splash out around €480 million, excluding add-ons, a club record. The transfer marks an end to a months-long saga of rumors and behind-the-scenes wrangling on the Swedish international's future. The reigning Premier League champions have also splashed serious cash on other major signings, including Bayer Leverkusen's Florian Wirtz and Jeremy Frimpong. The summer transfer window also broke the spending record for the Premier League, which saw clubs splurge close to €3.5 billion, up from €2.27 billion the previous summer.
Russian propaganda is overtaking legitimate news in the Czech Republic. A new report claims that disinformation websites in the Czech Republic publish around 120 articles a day, outpacing its main reliable news outlets. Czech media company Voxpot teams up with an IT association called Druid to analyse 360,000 publications across 16 platforms over the past 25 years. The investigation revealed that disinformation servers in the country churn out more articles every day than the largest Czech media houses, often doing so covertly with Russian money or funding from entities close to Russia. Voxpot said that roughly 10% of the articles were direct translations of pieces from state-owned and state-controlled Russian outlets such as Sputnik and RT, or other websites linked to the Russian propaganda machine. The EU has banned these media platforms since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. The report notes a common tactic that Russian propaganda campaigns often employ in Europe. As election time approaches, the amount of disinformation ramps up. The Czech Republic is due to hold its parliamentary elections in early October, and Voxpot says that around 4,000 misleading articles are published per month, the highest rate in history. Some of the misleading headlines include the supposed bankruptcy of Ukraine, allegations that Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni was spotted taking cocaine, and accusations that Brussels will interfere in the Czech elections. Ultimately, the goal of such headlines is to try and muster distrust in Western democracy and political leaders, and to try and generate a more positive public opinion towards Russia.